So, today we're talking about free financial advice and really all financial advice. But the number of wealthy women who have shared with me that they continue to get unsolicited financial advice is mind boggling. And it's really interesting that I'm not hearing the same complaint from men. But over the years, I've learned a few things about both unsolicited advice as well as solicited financial advice. About 75% of people over the age of 65 living in poverty are women, many who were not broke or poor while working or married. Getting good advice from a qualified advisor is critical to securing a retirement and financial future you love. Now, the situations are different. One person shared, I'll listen to anyone. And I was like, how terrifying is that? I mean, we don't want to listen to everyone because everyone has their opinion, but not every opinion is valid or makes sense or will help you on your journey. Others just simply don't want advice. So the issue is a lot of times we think that when we're paying for advice, it's good. It is good if the person is qualified. But as you're going to see from some of the examples I give you, sometimes when you're paying a person, they're not qualified. And this can be as dangerous as getting free, unsolicited financial advice. And it's something most people don't consider because they think if they're paying someone, it's good advice. But it got me thinking about all kinds of advice and when it's good and when it's not. And if you want insight so that you don't make the mistakes so many people have made, you're going to love today's episode. So let's dive in. Hi, my name is Annette, your host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I have been advising and researching the top 1% of millionaires, and I am passionately obsessed with money, mindset, and the intersection of self-worth and net worth and how the two connect and allow us to live fulfilled and wealthy lives on our terms. I'm a Midwestern girl who had a dream, began investing $25 a month 35 years ago, and today have a multi-million-dollar net worth. I teach the tried and true that only someone with over 3 decades of experience advising millionaires would know. This podcast is different, about much more than money. We talk about mindset, success, money blocks, worth barometer, and all aspects of money and topics from practical manifestation, along with real-world how-to and everything in between, with the goal of making your journey easier and more fun. Think of this as coffee, actually matcha tea, learning real-world common sense money and life advice from a BFF that you can start applying today. If you want to create a financially free life you love, you are in the right place, my friend. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. So let's dive into free financial advice, when it's good and when it's not. We're going to focus on 3 areas of advice: free resources, online courses, money coaches, and financial planners. Today's free resource is our Financial Freedom Formula Guide. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/FFG to download it. But you're going to love this resource. It provides an overview of the actions you need to take to create a fulfilled and financially free life you love so you can enjoy your retirement and the rest of your life. We share wealth and mindset insights in this free resource that many people don't even think of. One of the most common concerns of women is becoming a bag lady. This guide is a great step to creating a plan so you can stop worrying about your money and start enjoying your life. So again, themillionaireinsider.com/FFG. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/32. All materials and intellectual property are copywritten by themillionaireseries.com. The information we provide is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide you any investment, financial, tax, retirement, or any planning or healthcare advice. All participants agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. So let's look at when free financial advice is good and when it's not. So it's very likely that over the course of your life, you're going to have a question about a financial product, maybe Social Security, debt management, or even need a credit report. And so you're going to start searching either online or ask people about whatever topic it is that you need help with. But if you don't know what to do and do not have the money to hire a qualified advisor to help you with your personal finances, then you may need to seek out free financial advice. This is different from people who have money and can afford to hire a qualified financial advisor. So I want to be really clear on that. You either can't afford it, you don't know what to do, but you want to get your financial house in order. That's one lane. You've got money, you can afford someone, find somebody who's qualified. Getting free financial advice, especially when it's unsolicited, can be really dangerous. So I just want you to be clear on those two paths. Let's start by just reviewing some of the sources that offer free financial counseling. There are a variety of different options. One is the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, NFCC. It provides free and affordable credit counseling services in the US. There's also the Financial Planning Association, FPA. It offers pro bono financial planning services and opportunities to talk with a CFP for free. Every year, many cities have a financial planning day where we volunteer our time and people come and ask us questions. And it's really interesting because some of the people that come, I've done it a few years, are really qualified, like they really need an advisor, other ones not so much. But it's fascinating how many people go down there that really do have assets, but also have questions. So that's something you can take advantage of. There's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. It's a government agency that offers educational resources and tools. And then there's the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and it offers support regarding housing needs for Americans. So all those are really good free financial counseling options. Now, there's also online resources that can provide financial literacy, but generally they're not providing advice because they don't know about your personal situation. And that's okay, meaning going and learning what is an IRA, going and researching how much you can contribute to an IRA. Things that are more factual based, what is compound interest? What is an annuity? All of those things can be good. And the Millionaire Insider blog is a perfect option for that. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/blog and you can see our library of extensive resources. So there's a lot of them out there, some of them better than others. It all depends on who is providing the information. Are they qualified? Do they know the ins and outs? In our library, especially on technical topics, we really work to have them peer reviewed. I find that to be really important. And what I find fascinating now that we've done that for a couple of years is that, we'll have them peer reviewed sometimes several times, and different financial advisors. These are ones that I've certified and they're very qualified. And it's amazing how I'll pick up something, someone else will pick up something, another person will pick up something. So it's really nice to have different eyes on it because we all have different experiences. But you just want to make sure that any resource you have, it's really qualified. They know what they're doing. There's also financial forums and communities like blogs, libraries, books, financial literacy, and planning workshops. And some of these forums are great and others are terrifying. I'll give you an example of one that to me is terrifying, and it's a big one, but individuals with no qualifications are giving advice to other members. And I'll give you one example that I was like, oh my God, this is terrifying. This woman comes on the forum and she's like, I just inherited $500,000. What should I do with it? And the responses started flooding in. And it was bizarre how few people asked anything about her goals, about her cash flow, about her insurance or protection, her taxes, anything like that. No idea what she needed for retirement or what she had already saved. And they were just giving advice where she should invest it. And oh my gosh, that can be so dangerous and is not advised. If you don't have money to hire a qualified financial advisor and are seeking information in a forum, just make sure you do your homework and consider some of the nonprofit organizations and options I previously mentioned. You will be so glad you did. Now, we're going to talk about financial advice in a minute, but I just want to share one insight. When I hear people who have money sharing that they're getting all this unsolicited advice from a financial planner, it like rings a bell because successful financial planners don't have the time or need to give free financial advice. While there are a few exceptions for giving free financial advice for people who are not registered with the SEC or the state, generally, it's a violation of the investment advisor code. So just be aware of that. If you find someone giving unsolicited advice who is quote unquote a financial planner, I would run as fast as I could. It's not a good idea. And they're not going to. They have enough clients and they're making enough money. They don't have a need to go out and start giving people financial advice. There are also online courses. So examples are our Money Mindset Mastery. You can go to the millionaireinsider.com/MMM to learn more, or our Wealth Academy. You can go to the millionaireinsider.com/TWA. The focus in our community is threefold. One, it's for people who don't know if things are taken care of. They want to stop worrying if they're doing the right thing. And three, they can't afford a financial advisor, but they know they need to get help from someone who's qualified. So those are the three focuses in our community. The key is wherever you get your support, make sure the person teaching the course is qualified. There are so many money mindset experts out there. And what's mind-boggling is how many of them are like, I don't know anything about wealth. I'm not saying you can't teach someone insight on mindset, but if you're teaching someone on money mindset, you really need to have some knowledge of wealth. And so again, you just got to be aware of it. Then there are money and financial coaches. Now, this is really important. These individuals are not registered with the SEC or FINRA, so just be aware. If you need mindset, accountability, budgeting, or help getting a raise, things along those lines, then a money or financial coach could be perfect. You should not be getting financial planning or investment advice from them. And some of them are giving it out. And probably the biggest concern I have about it, first of all, it could be illegal depending on what they're doing. But the other issue is we've not really had a down market for 14 years. And most money coaches, as well as financial advisors, have never experienced a recession or a severe down market. One thing you need to know when you start investing is the stock market can go up and it can go down. So you've got to hire somebody who has that expertise that can help you create a plan that is going to be okay if the market does dramatically drop. And that's something I just think is going to be a nightmare when it actually comes to fruition. Because it's easy to give people financial advice when the market's going up. But when it drops, that's a problem, especially if you want to have a secure retirement. All right, then there are financial advisors. This is the ultimate goal if the person is registered and qualified and has a fiduciary duty. Now, fiduciary duty is the fact that they have to put your interests first. And qualified in my terms means that they have the experience to guide you in achieving your goal. So to determine if this is the case, you've got to ask really good questions until you're comfortable with their level of knowledge. Registered means they're registered as an investment advisor with either the SEC or their state. And you can ask them, are you registered? They're either going to be a registered investment advisor, meaning their firm typically will be, or they are an investment advisor rep. So you just got to ask. The other thing that's really important, as we talked about a minute ago, as far as the importance that you hire somebody that's qualified and that most successful advisors are not going to be out giving unsolicited free advice. It's really important to know that a qualified financial advisor is required to provide you a copy of their ADV prior to giving you financial advice. And they're also required to have you sign an advisory agreement where you acknowledge receipt of the ADV. So if somebody's not doing that, they're probably not registered, or they could be even violating the section code. Just be aware of that. So I want to talk about solicited financial advice because so many people think getting free advice from people who are just trying to sell them something isn't good, which can be true. But many people make equally devastating financial mistakes when they're paying for advice. One example was the widow who had about $85 million until she found out that her deceased husband and her CPA of like 20 years had been stealing money. And he stole like over $80 million from her. And he only got 8 years in prison. Just crazy. Another couple found out that their financial advisor, who was a CPA and attorney and was also a Russian resident, had stolen over $7 million of their $10 million net worth. And he left the country once he got indicted and was never found guilty. It's just horrifying. But in both of these cases, the financial advice was solicited and paid for, and the result was devastating. And in both of the cases, even though in the first case, I interviewed a financial planner that was a part of the team investigating this and trying to find the money, the other one, it was the daughter who was a professional. But the scary part of both of those was that they hired somebody and they basically abdicated it. They no longer were paying attention. They just did what the advisor said. In the second scenario, with the couple who lost $7 million, they got a call from like the Lakers coach saying, "Why are you selling your La Jolla beachfront property?" And she's like, "We're not selling it." He goes, "Yeah, I'm buying it. And I can't imagine anyone selling this property." That's how they found out about it. But basically what that advisor was doing is he was getting them to put their money in a trust because he's like, the biggest issue is creditor protection. Without even reading the trust, they were signing it. Result was devastating. Now, on a side note, one of the things I just want you to be aware of, and this may not impact you, but it may impact somebody you know, and possibly you could help them to avoid a major problem in their financial future. But my research and experience shows that rich people, these are people who have high incomes and high debt, are more likely to hire an advisor that tells them what they want to hear. Advisors who don't do that, don't agree with their agenda, are often fired. They will continue to search for an advisor that will allow and enable their behaviors. Unfortunately, the result is a much higher probability that they're going to retire broke. Because when you're doing things that allow you to keep overspending, not saving, kind of this whole belief that if you save for retirement, you can't enjoy your life now, which is completely not true, it's a problem. How do you get good advice from a qualified advisor? Let's look at the different insights. So number one, I encourage you to look at the experience of a personal financial advisor. What have they done? What type of clients do they advise? Wealthy or middle class? How do they charge their fees? Do they follow their own advice or not? Do they have money? Surprisingly enough, many financial advisors do not have a lot of wealth. And some of them, the bigger the producer, like the ones making millions, are spending so much money. It is crazy. And I just know because I ran a performance mastermind for advisors for almost 20 years. And I'll get $1 million producers who can't afford to even pay for our program. They have to do the financing, which almost doubles the cost. And oftentimes their credit card will decline. And then they're like, "Oh, I got to give you a different one." It's like, oh my gosh, you're out giving financial advice? That's horrifying. You also want to look at the qualifications of a advisor from a business perspective. And I'm going to give you an example. So my husband, during his career, managed huge projects for a major firm. And one of the largest ones was worth over $500 million. Now, this was in the 80s. So today it'd be like $1 billion company. But he shared how one company had a CFO who was young and clearly inexperienced, and he had no formal training. He didn't even know how to do a forecast and was basically a yes man to the CEO. He did whatever he was told to do. Not surprisingly, the company didn't make it. That's the same thing that happens with individuals. Only with individuals, you're just going to be living in a one-bedroom, roach-infested apartment in a scary area eating ramen noodles. It's not ideal. So find an advisor that really helps you do what you need to do, not somebody that just tells you what you want to hear. Do they have a fiduciary duty? Do they have to put your interests first? That is, in my opinion, one of the most important aspects. Even if they're earning commissions, that's okay as long as they have a fiduciary duty, meaning your interests come first. What are their certifications? Are they a CFP, a certified financial planner, or an investment advisor? You want to find that out. And then education. What's their education? Now, I have a degree in finance, a BS in finance, and an emphasis in psychology. The only reason I got a degree in finance is because my professor said no one will take you seriously unless you have a serious degree, either finance or accounting. And I thought accounting, I would jump off a building. So I went into finance. But I will say this much. I feel that my emphasis in psychology has been as important, if not more so, than my degree in finance. Sure, you have to know numbers, you have to understand markets, but boy, being able to understand how people's mind works and what people need to do to get their results has been priceless. So again, you have to figure out for yourself what's going to work. That's been my insight on my 35 years of doing this. All right, so let's recap free financial advice, when it's good and when it's not. First of all, you got to determine if you need free financial advice because you can't afford to pay a qualified advisor. Now, is that really true, or are you just scared about spending money, or you don't want to? Just want to be aware of that. If you have money and can afford to hire a qualified financial advisor, do so. You'll be so glad you did. And then take the time to interview prospective financial advisors to ensure they're what you need. Look at their experience, their qualifications. Do they have a fiduciary duty? What are their certifications and their education? And then make sure it works for you. So there you have it. If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money, or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so that you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for next step finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. I want to thank you so much for joining me for free financial advice when it's good and when it's not. I'm Annette, host of Wealth Inside and Out podcast. Bye for now.